Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, guys, oh my gosh, I rushed to go get my drink, thinking I had all the time in the world. Apparently not. Anyways, how's everyone doing? Let's go ahead and start this reading. Start this soul talk, soul-based talk. My hair is doing crazy things right now. Let me just there we go. There we go. All right, let's get started. I asked what this talk was going to be about, and what I heard is stay focused. Finish line is in sight. Whatever it is that you're going through, the finish line is in sight. Okay. It's like a back and forth of energy. And this back and forth of energy is really causing a lot of people to struggle through certain types of things, right? Certain types of struggles, certain types of frustrations, initiating all sorts of really intense processes. And this is what it is. It's a process. It's nothing more than simply a process. So accept it as it is. Okay. Stay focused on what you're trying to do. Stay focused on the urges from soul. And these are urges to get specific tasks done at a specific time. Now, if you allow yourself to listen to the encouragement you're receiving from your own soul, you'll begin to notice a pattern. What that pattern is, I don't know. I think it's different for everyone. But I think if you take the time to recognize the way your soul speaks to you in patterns, from timing to event types to all of that, you'll begin to see that, okay, when this, and this happens, that means I'm very close to the finishing of the cycle that I'm in. I know today there is a lot of just like straight up demon horita energies, behaviors, attempts to distract, derail, I guess destroy. I don't know. It's a lot. All of these different attempts, right? All of these different attempts trying to get you into a space of being distracted, into a space of feeling as though you're overwhelmed, it's too much, you can't do it anymore. And, maybe take a moment, take a deep breath, allow yourself to recognize the ways in which you have absolutely got every portion of your life, every cycle, everything. Okay, let's look at what the cards are telling us. Yep. Yes. Love this. I very much love this. Got it. Okay, so right at the start, direct instructions from soul. You are to remain dedicated to what it is you're manifesting. What are you manifesting? What type of circumstance, what type of opportunities, whatever it is that you have begun, you need to remain focused on it. We have the manifestation card, we have the dedication card. You have to remain dedicated to the task at hand. If you allow yourself to look at what's happening, you'll see that whatever this is, it was initiated sometime last autumn, end of spring, early autumn. And it's been carrying on and carrying on. And what's been carrying on is a lack of respecting your boundaries, a lack of maybe you enforcing those boundaries. And I don't say that as though it's your fault. I say that as though if this is true for you, now you know What door needs to be closed? What entry point is being exploited? Is it because your boundaries are not being shored up? Is it because your boundaries are not being enforced and therefore something, someone uses that to continuously poke and prod and poke and prod until it's something that's very irritated, very agitated, very raw. And when you enter into a space of being very raw, I mean, it doesn't take much to push you over the edge, correct? It doesn't take much. It becomes something that you'll probably want to avoid, the addressing of it, the facing of things. It needs to be addressed. If that's the area that's being utilized to distract from what you are to remain focused on, that needs to be addressed. It really, truly does. It really, truly does. Things are going to try and re-enter into your life, certain cycles, certain types of drama. You know, do you want to restart those cycles? Do you feel like it's necessary for you to experience those things once again? Because if you feel like you've learned, then I think what needs to happen is you need to face that head on, address it head on, like head on, and then allow yourself to be, kind of just bold in your declaration that this is a boundary and you will not cross it. You kind of got to get bold with that sometimes. You need to maybe sometimes speak much more assertively. And if speaking assertively is not enough for whatever it is you're dealing with, maybe it's time to speak with much more passion or flat out aggression, whatever is appropriate. And when I say aggression, I'm talking about maybe it's time to raise your voice. If people or things cannot understand that you've had enough, despite you communicating it in a calm way, maybe it needs to be communicated in a way that is more representative of how you're feeling already, right? So you address whatever this is. By summer, you're going to be doing really well. By summer, the start of summer is a feel that I get. For many, it's the start of summer. And those are the people who are really just dedicated to the process they're in, dedicated to this process of clearing out the things that need to be cleared out, ending the types of cycles that need to be ended. You'll have relief at the very start of summer. For those who have kind of dragged your feet about it a little bit, it's going to be pushed out just a little bit, but I feel like it can still be accomplished by summer. Whatever this finish line is, you'll get to it at some point in the summer. And for those who, you're going to continue to avoid, you will not have relief. You will not have a break. It's going to continue to escalate. And I know you're going to feel like, well, that's not fair. You said something nice for everyone. No, I said something true for everyone. There was nothing nice about what I said. I was truthful. And I think if you're one of the folks that is like, that's not fair, you said something nice for everyone, I think maybe it's time for you to begin looking at how that mindset might be the very thing that keeps fucking you up. I know that's a harsh thing to say, but I need to get through past all of whatever bullshit stories are being said inside the self to create a distorted perception of who's actually in charge of your life and your journey. Someone has to help you in that way, where you're no longer being spoken to in a nice way, but not in an intentionally mean way. You're just being spoken to in a very direct, very truthful manner, right? Exactly. Exactly. It's not going to be handed to you. right, Dark Warrior? You do have to put the work in, time to get really honest with yourself. And, being honest with yourself about struggling through these types of coping mechanisms, because that's what they are. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or manipulative or weak or any of those things. It just means it's time to actually address the root reasons as to why you can't remain focused on the task at hand. And that's all it is. It's not meant to shame you. It's not meant to make you feel badly. It's meant to give you enough of the reality of what you are going through, why you're potentially going through it, and then moving forward, right? So, again, for those who are putting in tremendous amounts of work and you've been very focused, you haven't allowed yourself to get derailed. That's a very difficult task to do, to remain focused and not get derailed. I mean, that's damn near impossible, but I know some of you are able to do that. Good job. Seriously. Good job. You're probably going to experience a tangible proof that the cycle is finishing and you are at the finish line and things are about to change beautifully for you. And again, for those who have, you've done the work, you've dragged your feet here and there, which that's understandable. I do that too. It's probably going to be a little bit later in the summer, but it's still going to happen for you as long as you remain focused and keep doing what you're doing. Excuse me. And then again, for those who have been avoiding as part of your coping mechanism, which sometimes I do that as well, you're going to need to really commit yourself to what it is you're trying to accomplish. Now, this part of the message is for everyone. There is something that's being concealed, something that's being hidden. And there's various reasons that this could be happening. Although most people would assume like, oh my gosh, someone's trying to hide something from me because they're trying to set me up. They're trying to this, they're trying to that. I mean, for some people that might be accurate. That's not the feel that I get though. The feel that I get is there is something that you are working on, something that I guess really needs to happen for you. And it's being hidden from everyone else. It might even be hidden from you for now or for a time, simply because your soul is trying to make sure that this really happens for you. It has to happen for you. It has to. For those that this message, applies to, and you have such a potentiality that needs to be realized at this point. It needs to be allowed to come to fruition. Because this potentiality that might be being hidden from you, a potentiality that's definitely being hidden from other people for now, it is something that has the capacity to completely alter not just your life, but the trajectory of the human consciousness and the way it develops, the expansion of our collective awareness of ourselves and the power we wield on a regular basis or choose not to wield. Things are going to intensify. The card says it, intensification. The card says it. Things are going to intensify. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a ramping up of different things that okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting all of these different visuals. 91% at 111, 9, 1, 1, 1, 1, all of these different fragments of self that are coming together into a singularity, entering into a space of totality. These visuals that I'm being given, it's almost like a reminder of how things that I thought weren't connected, they in fact are. Ways in which I wanted to avoid the additional adversity, the additional struggle, the ways in which I wanted to speed through specific processes because who wants to go through hardship? Who wants to be stressed out? Only to realize that everything was a layer laid on top of another layer and another layer and another layer in order to fortify the foundation from which you are building the next part of your life. Michael's correcting me. You are not building the next part of your life. You are currently building the bridge that takes you to the part of your life you are now ready to live. He says it's important at this point to no longer see this process as leading towards some intangible future event that's not even guaranteed. That it's important to shift our focus to begin really accepting, acknowledging, and then accepting before we embrace the reality that we are already in the process. This is happening now. It is happening now. You must stay focused. The finish line is in sight. It is happening for you now. You are actively in the process. If we relate this to labor and delivery, most people who have not given birth, you don't really know the process. That's fine. I mean, you've never experienced it, right? So, most of us who haven't gone through this process of rebirthing ourselves, this type of elevated ascension mechanics, we don't know what's happening. We've never gone through it. We've never been cognitive as we've gone through this type of process. So, when you're in labor, first you start with contractions and people think like, "Oh no, the baby's coming, the baby's coming." No, things are just ramping up. You're just being prepared. There are various processes that need to happen. The consistent contracting and contracting, the closer they get together and the stronger they become, the thinner the cervix is, and the more that opening will dilate in preparation for active labor. You can be in labor for hours on end. Hours on end. For my first child, I was in labor contracting for about 25, 26 hours straight. Straight. No, nothing. No medications, no nothing. Right. And I felt everything. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. And then the last hour and a half. So we're talking about hour 26.5, hour 27. That's when I was in active labor. That's when the baby's head is actually engaged in the birth canal. Birth canal is about this long. It's not long. Hour and a half. Could not get through. The pain, the effort, the fear, like, woo, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. And that's when you know there's no turning back. You have no clue how long this will take. You don't know. But there's a difference between the preparatory period and the actual active laboring. There's a huge difference in the sensations and everything. Huge difference. Huge. Right? Then, of course, then you birth yourself. And the amount of relief that you feel, the exhaustion, the relief, I mean, it's undescribable. Indescribable. It's a difficult process, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And even after I had gone through that with my first, the same fear, the same questioning with all my other children after that, right? It's, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Um, we need to make sure that we remain focused on what it is that needs to happen. Sorry. We need to remain focused on what it is that's happening. It doesn't matter if you've been through a previous ascension cycle. All ascension cycles unfold differently. All ascension cycles unfold differently. You will have different experiences. You will have a different perspective through each one. I've given birth so many times, and each one was a far different experience than the previous. Each one. You become a different person every time you birth yourself. A new version of you that you need time to get to know emerges. It is just not something that you can predict how it will go. You cannot force the way it happens. What you can do to really claim your power is to stay focused, because the finish line is in sight. The finish line is in sight, right? The Lady of the Mirror, reflection, non-judgment. Reflection, non-judgment. Allow yourself to really take a good, solid look at how much you've been through, at what you need to do. Take a good, hard look at whatever it is that needs to happen in order for you to really come to terms with how much you've already gotten done for yourself, with how much you've already survived, and how much more you will enter into a space of thriving once you allow yourself to. It's no longer enough to simply survive your life circumstances. You need to enter into a space of thriving. How do you do that? By being honest about what you've lived through. Honest with yourself. You don't have to talk to anyone else if you don't feel comfortable. But I do feel like you need to know. When you share of your journey with others, especially, simply with people that you trust, something beautiful happens. You begin to own what's happened to you, and you begin to lose your fear and shame. You begin to see, oh, other people have gone through this before too. What? It's not just me. So I'm not just being punished. No, you're not. You're not just being punished. You are growing. Growing pains doesn't only happen as you are already out of the womb, that spiritual womb, that emotional womb. It also happens as you are being born. One of my children remembers being in utero. He remembered. This is crazy. It freaked me out. When he was, I want to say like 2 or 3 years old, he began sharing with me the things that he remembered being in the womb and what he remembered as he was being born. He had those memories intact. I never shared those things with him. And he remembered the pain and the discomfort. It's not just the mother that experiences the pain. The type of squeezing that happens to that poor baby. They're squeezed through. hmm And that happens for a reason. It's to help expel all of this stuff from the lungs. right? I think for many of us, as we struggle, we need to remind ourselves this struggle that I'm feeling, this struggle that I'm experiencing, um, it's a direct sign. It is a direct sign that I am in the process of birthing myself. I don't know how long this will take. I don't know if there will be complications, but at the end of all of this, I will be born anew, right? And that's the finish line. Fruition, balance, reaping what you sow. Everything that's been done, it's coming back around. It's coming back around and it's being witnessed not just by you, but the people who need to see you in your authenticity, in your most authentic state. They need to see who you are, or they're already seeing who you are. And this goes both ways. This goes both ways. For some people who have done so much wrong and so much ugliness to others, everyone that needs to see the ugly that is you will see it. Yeah, everything. Everything you've done is going to come to light. You can't hide it anymore. You can't pretend anymore. You are going to be seen for what you are. And that is on you. And for those of us who don't do horrendous things in the shadows, those of us who don't play these games of pretending to be something we're not, and creating ugly circumstance for other people just because we're bored, because we're mad, because we're jealous. We don't do those things. Whatever's been said about you, lies, distortions, you're about to experience vindication. You're about to experience the peeling back of the eyelids of the people who were questioning, like, what's really happening here? What is going on here? Right? It is a difficult process, very difficult, but you have what it takes to get through this. You're already through it. It's just a matter of getting your toes across that finish line. You're already there. Hang in there. Get those little piggies across the line and close this chapter out. Close out whatever it is. Close it out. Close it out. Don't try and hold on to a little something. Close it all the way out. Use all your energy, all your effort, all your focus. Close it out. Close it out. The sun dancers, joyful activity, celebration of life, abundance. This is you dancing in the light of your truth, dancing surrounded by your awareness of the gravity of you and what you've been through, how you move through it, the ways in which you made that happen. You made that happen for yourself. You made that happen. This period that we're in, it's a very agitative period. The way the energies are, the way these inaudible frequencies are affecting our brain function, our personality, our perception. It's a challenging period that we're in. That's okay. Stay focused. The finish line is in sight. Optimism and aggression, the fire prince. Oof. Optimism and aggression. Optimism and aggression. I mean, those seem like opposing polarities, no? I don't think so. I think they are one and the same, but harnessed differently. I think they both come from a space of passion, a space of desire. When you can do something productive with your passion and your desire, you become very optimistic. You become excited. You become very capable, very, very capable of getting things done efficiently. That's wonderful. And the aggression part, like aggression, that's you having tremendous amounts of fuel, all of this emotion, this passion, and not really having the skills and the awareness to utilize it in a way that is beneficial and healing for you. If that's describing you, you can learn how to utilize that. It takes some effort, but you can learn how to utilize your passion and use it in a productive manner. You can learn. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter how long you've functioned in a way that's detrimental to you. You simply have to choose and commit to that choice. It's really literally that simple. It's simple, but simple isn't always easy. How committed are you to healing yourself? And I'm not talking about like the words that you say. I'm talking about your actual commitment. How committed are you to healing yourself? Are you willing to go the distance for yourself? I think for most of you, you're willing to go the distance for other people, but are you willing to do it for yourself? Now, if you can see the finish line already and you stop, that's going to haunt you for quite some time. You are going to use that as a reasoning to be really mean to yourself, to accuse yourself of failure, of being a quitter, of all of these different things. So maybe instead of stopping, if you feel exhausted, if you feel worn down, try pausing. Just a pause. Just pausing and then going again as soon as you catch your breath. It's not always beneficial to force yourself to keep going. I was working out earlier and I'm really excited because a lot of the ladies in the gym, they're like getting really beefy and it just excites me. I don't see it as competition. I'm like, "Fuck yeah, hell yeah. We could be like beefy together, but separately and not speaking because I'm an introvert. I'm just quietly celebrating you in my head. One of these days, I will absolutely go up to these ladies, every single one, like, girl, I've totally been watching you. You're so inspirational. You little beefy mama. I don't know if I'll ever do that. One of these days, I'll try and work up the courage. But, anyways, so one of these gals, she's like really beefy, right? And I was on the Smith machine right beside her. She was working out before I arrived. And the machine that was open was the one beside her. So I go ahead and I'm setting up and I see that she's about to do the same exercise that I was going to start with. And usually I can only do like 165 pounds on the bar. But then I saw she was doing 205. And I was like, okay, I'm nowhere near as beefy as you, but I mean, I don't want to disappoint you. You know what I mean? I want to keep up. I want to keep up. And I was like, okay, we'll try 205 pounds. We'll try it because now we have our weightlifting belt. I typically don't go over 165 because I'm concerned I will herniate one of my discs in my back. So yeah. Yeah, that happened. I went ahead and I did 3 sets of 205, 3 sets of 15 at 205 pounds. And I was like, fuck yeah, what are you doing next? In my head. I'm like, what's she doing next? I want to match it. I want to match it. Not because I'm competing, but because she's very inspirational. She's really beefy. I like it. I love it. I love it. But she was done. And she left. She went to another part. And it's this thing of recognizing when you have the proper support, you can actually bang out way more than what you think you can do. Yeah. Yeah. Then came the squats. And I'm often scared of compression of my spine again and how that compression will translate into a return of my pelvic tilt mid squat. And I'm concerned it will fucking rip my tendons in my knee. I have Ehlers-Danlos. I have unstable joints, instability in my joints. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Stop being afraid. Stop being afraid. And you best believe I put the stoppers, the emergency stoppers on the Smith machine, because if I do one squat and I'm fucking bailing. I don't give a shit. Yep. I'm going to drop that. I don't care. I'm not ripping my knee. I tell you that much. And it surprised me because not only was I able to do one squat with no problem at about, I don't know, 40 pounds heavier. It wasn't 5 pounds heavier. I went from 165 to 205. That's a 40-pound increase. Not only was I able to do one safely, I again did 3 sets, 205 pounds. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And then I was on a roll and I was like, okay, let's make it 205 across the board. Let's do sumo squats. No, sumo deadlifts. Yeah. So I did. But after the first one, I nearly passed out. And it was at that point I said, okay, I got the support. I'm not going to hurt myself, but I'm going to pass the fuck out. I need to just lay down on the floor for a second. So I did. I paused. And then I assessed for the next set. Can I actually do this? Because if I'm going to pass out, like, I really don't want to pass out at the gym. I don't. Because that's going to be weird for everyone. Not just for me, for everyone. It's going to be weird. And wouldn't you know, I was able to do another set. All because why? Because I paused. For me, I only typically take 20 seconds between sets. I do supersets and 20 seconds between each set of supersets. I had to pause. It was only, I don't know, 3 minutes. I had to catch my breath. But I was able to do it because of the pause. Pushing myself in that moment would not have done anything. It would not have produced any results outside of potential injury or harm. Do what you need to do. If you need to pause, then pause. A pause is not you giving up. It is exactly what a pause is. You taking a moment, catch your breath, regain a centered, undistorted perspective of what you're doing. I process a lot of my life and my thoughts at the gym. That's why I'm there for so long. I can't do that if I'm not present. I will hurt myself. If I'm not present, I will hurt myself unintentionally. You have to be present in the process you are in. And if you're not, you need to pause. You need to reconsider this thought of pushing it through, forcing yourself. I know for some people, you hear what I say and you receive it as though I'm telling you and encouraging you to push through, just force it. No. Yes, push through your fear, but assess for any potential injury if you force what you cannot do in that moment. There is nothing wrong with slowing down, taking a break, pausing. There is nothing wrong with that. Just don't quit. You can say in your head you want to quit. That's fine. If that's how you feel, own how you feel. Saying it and feeling it is not the same thing as actually committing to the decision to quit. You want to see this, what I'm talking about, playing out in real life? Go watch my one video where I'm over here crying. I'm like, I don't want a live stream because I didn't. Did I stop? No. There were so many pauses in that live stream. So many pauses where I needed to collect my thoughts, where I needed to remind myself to breathe. But did I quit? No. No, I did not. Was it easy? No. It was very difficult. Why did I keep going? Because I needed to show myself that I can be as present as I encourage you to be, that I am true to my words, that I live what I preach. And it's not always pretty. It's not always pretty. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be real. It's meant to be raw. You are right there from accomplishing whatever you set out to do all the way since last year. This is a process that's been drawn out intentionally to increase and elevate your potentiality. The Lady of Lightning, surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. For some of us, we're entering into a space of powerful manifestation, not manifestation in the way some spiritual teachings, hijack teachings, are telling us we manifest, right? Surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. For many of us, we're entering into a space of really creating circumstance that gets us through to the other side. The other side of what? The other side of our perspective. We've been stuck in the way we see ourselves in the process we're in. For some of us, it's looking through rose-colored goggles. For others of us, it's looking through very dark shades, not realizing that we don't need them, right? And yet, for others of us, it's continuing to use the same glasses, knowing we need a new prescription. We can't see clearly. I was thinking about this earlier today. I actually need a new prescription. My glasses, I have them on my face, but everything is still kind of blurred. At some point, I need to, right? So the Swan Queen, transformation, intuition, and patience. I mean, we're being given everything because of this total paradigm shift. We're entering into a space of transformation, intuition, and patience. Patience with our process, patience with ourselves. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Oof. Okay. There's going to be another attempt to really mess up your progression. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. For some of you, you have a really wicked person. I'm going to be very blunt right now. For some of you, you have a very wicked person who has gotten access to you, and they're presenting themselves either as a friend, but they're a frenemy, or it's full on adversarial where they have malicious, malignant intentions towards you, and you have yet to figure out how to make it stop. Okay. Okay. If you have this person in your life, and if you do, you're going to know exactly who it is. You're going to be like, oh my God, she knows. Oh my God. Okay. If you're sitting there like, I wonder who she's talking about. Who could it be? Baby boo, the message is not for you. Do not start drama in your life. This message is not for you. I don't know how much more clear I can be. Okay. Unless you are like, I fucking knew it. She's talking to me. She knows. Then the message is not for you. Just please don't start a problem in your life that you don't need to start. So, for those who have this issue, you're going to have to stop moving for a moment. You're going to have to focus all of your energy like a laser. This heat, this passion, you have to address it. You can no longer run away from this. You can no longer dodge it. You can no longer, have this game plan of being non-combative. No, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed head on. And you have to stand your ground. You have to stand your ground. There's this one circumstance that I'm dealing with, and it was so fucking disruptive for how long? For how long? And it kept escalating and escalating and escalating until finally I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm sick of your shit. Fuck you. Now I'm going to correct you. Uh-huh. I had to get real fucking mad. I don't like to do that. I don't. I don't like to do that. That's just, I mean, that's within my character, meaning I have the capacity to defend myself in that way. I don't like to. I like to just leave people alone. Just like stop. Just stop. Go do something else. Go somewhere else. Like, leave me be. I don't want to engage with you. But when you have no other option, you need to face that head on. You do. To date, I've never had to take action like this before. And now I'm fully committed. I'm going to see this all the way through. All the way through until it's completely done, because fuck that shit. This is not going to continue forward. This is not going to be allowed to continue forward. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Face it head on. Whatever you're going through, face it head on. Okay? And if you're going through something like that, do not delete anything. Do not throw anything away. Keep everything. You don't know what type of evidence you're going to need. Keep everything. I'm not talking about provoke people. I'm not trying to talk about, setting people up. That's shady. You're being just like that person. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Don't be that. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Do not be that. But when it's time to make something end, you need to make it end. You need to put your effort into it. Right? You need to. You're right there at the finish line. Rather than continue moving and moving and moving, you're right there. You're right there. So, what might be attempted? Well, they're going to try and get a reaction out of you. There's a difference between a reaction and a response. A response is something that you've thought of. You've thought about what is the appropriate way to address, what words need to be used, what is the appropriate action. That's you intentionally utilizing your sovereign power over yourself and your circumstance, right? Your personal circumstance. Allowing yourself to simply become reactive, that's you giving your power away to a person who's going to use their access to your power to manipulate your emotions and behaviors in such a way that they can paint you as something you're not. Yep. If you're not okay with that, then don't allow them to have that kind of power over you. Don't allow them to have that kind of power over you. They'll try. They'll try and try and try and try. Don't allow them to have that kind of power over you, because what they're trying to do with your reaction, that's called reactive abuse, by the way. It's called reactive abuse. It's a form of psychological abuse. Yeah, that's what it is. They trigger you and trigger you and trigger you until you're finally in a space of reactivity, and by then you're probably going to lose your shit. And then they use that as evidence that you're crazy, that you're abusive, that you're the one that's starting it. No, motherfucker. No, motherfucker. It's you. It's you. Mhm. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Okay? I know. Quite a few of us have at least one person in our life that's like this. Quite a few of us. Quite a few. Yes. Don't feel alone. Those of you in my community, if you have someone in your life that's like this, that does this type of thing, there's quite a few of us who have experienced the same thing. It is not your fault. You did not deserve that. You did not start anything. No, absolutely not. That reactivity that they're trying to bring out of you is to prevent this revolutionary change within you, this shifting that's going to occur. And as this shift occurs, you will be completely liberated from that. Do you not want to be free? Free of whatever the circumstance is that's been being forced on you. I'm debating on whether I should share an obscure detail. It's obscure in that I'm not going to mention names or what period of my life this is from. Michael says to share it, so um, there was once an individual who dragged out um, legal proceedings for a very long time, very long time. And when they couldn't get me to stop, meaning I remained focused on seeking justice and the ending of um, the perpetual abuse I had been forced to sustain, forced to tolerate for quite a few years. They went ahead and they changed their story to um, I'm the one dragging it out to punish them. Huh. That's funny. Because in that particular circumstance, I had cooperated and cooperated and cooperated, even repeatedly asking my legal representatives, why is this still ongoing? Like, I don't understand why this is still ongoing. Yeah, that's funny. It will be funny one day. It's not quite funny to me still. Yeah, it's still not quite funny to me, uh, because I'm still processing the audacity. The audacity, right? Is it for me to understand why someone would do that? No, because I'm not like that and I would never do that. So I'm never going to understand that. And that's a good thing. That means I lack the capacity to be a piece of shit, right? I lack the capacity to do that. I'm not like that. And so what happens? Well, I give myself time to process for however long it's going to take to process. I do not allow myself to enter into a space of reactivity. And I remain centered in the reality that I am a sovereign and no one will control my emotions, that I will naturally feel the highs and the lows that are associated with difficult circumstance. And that is that. I give myself permission to feel what I feel, but I will not succumb to any process that is a disrespect to my sovereignty. I refuse. And if I refuse, what the fuck are you going to do about it? That I find funny. I find it funny that people think they can tell you how to feel, what to think, how to act. They can't tell you shit. To my community, do you understand the kind of power you have over yourself? If you do not comply, what happens? Nothing. 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 You're at the finish line. Stay focused on the task at hand. If the task at hand involves you closing out chapters, remain focused on closing that. Remain focused. Really allow yourself the permission to reach the levels of sovereign free will access to your power and use it to close that fucking door. If people's fingers get smashed in that door, they shouldn't have been trying to force it open in the first place. Fuck those fingers. Oh, I absolutely mean that. Fuck those fingers. If someone is trying to enter in your home and you know they're trying to harm you, if they gain access into your home, I'm going to fight you all the way, buddy. I'm not going to let you through that door. I'm going to put all my weight. I'm going to try and figure out how to utilize some degree of fulcrum to slam that door shut. And if you stick your finger in there, it gets smashed. I don't give a fuck. That door is getting shut. Well, you stick your finger in a door that's trying to close. That's on you. And sometimes we need to get to a point where we give ourselves that kind of permission to be like, I don't need to take into consideration how you're being inconvenienced by the fact that I'm not cooperating with you abusing me, taking advantage of me, manipulating me. Y'all, you're at the finish line. I know many of us are going through this type of thing, probably silently, not letting anyone know what's happening. I tell you right now, you don't have to go on any live stream and publicly declare and name people. You don't have to do any of that. But I've found that, when people do these types of things to you and you're silent about it, they get very bold. They think they can get away with it. They'll continue and continue and continue until you finally have had enough and you force them to stop. And part of the way you no longer make yourself available to that type of treatment is by speaking openly and loudly about your life experiences. Don't focus on other people. Focus on what you have lived through, the ways in which you have grown from that. You don't even need to mention anyone's name because they are not the important part of your story. How you chose to rise and become the next version of yourself is what your story is about. You're at that finish line. Stay focused. Stay focused. If you need to cry for a little bit, go cry. Go ahead and cry. If you're so fucking pissed off that you need to sob, boo, get a blanket, wrap it around you, sob. Sob. If you don't have enough tissues, wipe it on your blanket, whatever you need to do. Take care of yourself. Process what needs to be processed so it can be purged and you can have more space to continue pushing forward. Continue pushing forward. You can do it. You've been doing it. Continue pushing forward. Continue pushing forward. Allow yourself the space that's not being given to you to process your life, to process your process, to come to terms with what's been happening, right? The card came in reverse. You see how easy it was for me to turn it right side up? You can't be stuck in this mindset, but Emmy, it came in reverse. It came in reverse. Yeah, I don't want it in reverse. There. Right side up. But Emmy, it came in reverse. I don't give a fuck if it came in sideways. This makes sense to me. This feels powerful to me. So I'm going to hold this and myself right side up. And that's that. What happens if I put it right side up? Nothing. Nothing. Now it makes more sense. For me personally, it makes more sense. Approach your life in that way. Someone wants you upside down. You don't like being upside down. Right side up. Right side up. But there's no buts. There's no buts. When you know what the problem is, you need to put all your focus, all your energy, all your effort into the finding and implementation of the solution. Absolutely. You see, if you ever do a project with me, if you ever do work with me or for me, I can be a very difficult boss. Why? Because the continuation of simply reiterating what the problem is, that's unacceptable to me. The standard with which I conduct myself in my personal life and my professional life does not have any space for the continuation of discussing the same fucking thing that we already know is an issue. When we know what the issue is, I don't want to hear any more about that issue. I want to hear about how we're going to fix that issue. And if it's going to take some time, that's fine. But we're not going to be completely disabled and stuck talking about the known issue. I don't give a fuck how long it takes. We are pushing forward to find a solution. We've already identified the problem. That's how I conduct myself in my life. Across the board. Why do you think problems don't stay problems for too long? Anyone who knows me knows I'm a problem solver, and I will not stop until the problem is solved. You might not hear me talk much about it because guess what? We already know what the fucking problem is. It's on a little post-it note on the wall somewhere. We know. It's been noted. We know. What I want on my desk are all the potential solutions and how we can go about implementing that to see if it's feasible and sustainable long term. That's all I want to know. That is all I want to know. Some people might be like, that's dismissive. No, it's efficient. It's efficient. I don't want to hear whining about like, but this doesn't work, but this doesn't, okay, doesn't work. Take it off my desk. Take it out of my thoughts. Throw it away. Doesn't work. I just need to remember we already tried that. Don't try it again. Unless you're going to make an adjustment to it. Then try it again. But why are you making an adjustment? Did you have a different calculation that would produce a different result? Okay, we could try it again. If you want to just try it again, but for what? We've already established that's not going to work. Throw it away. Throw that thought away. You have to allow yourself the permission to really fully enter into the process of formation. You are forming the foundation of the entirety of the remainder of your existence in this period. This applies to everyone. This applies to everyone. This applies to literally everyone. Whether you're ready, whether you think you deserve it, whether you feel like you've done enough work, whether you're aware that you have been just kind of bullshitting for a little bit, that's okay. We go through periods of bullshitting. I'm being totally honest. I'm not trying to soothe your feelings. Sometimes we go through a period of bullshitting because it's hard for us to process. So we need a little break from what we're processing. Hell, lately I've been having my own little struggles that aren't so little, but we're going to categorize it as little. Okay. And I've been coping by playing Pokemon Go. It is what it is. It is what it is. Right? It is what it is. Been trying to process. And sometimes when you are a quantum neurodivergent, a quantum divergent for short, what ends up happening is you need very mundane, mind numbing activities as a form of stimming. Sometimes you just got to stim. People think like, oh, Emmy loves to sing. I'm stimming. I have sensory integration problems. It's an actual condition. It's not a disability. It's a condition that I've learned is actually beneficial for me. I'm more hyper aware of specific things that keeps me safe. Right? But when my senses get overloaded, it's hard. I can't function. It's like alarm bells are ringing through my entire head, eyeballs, ears, and body. I can't function. Too much info. I need to info dump somehow. You sing. Or you tap your fingers, rub your fingers, tap, tap, tap on a desk, tap, tap, tap. You can rock. You can sing. You can find another way to stimulate yourself so that you can release more of that overwhelming sensory overload, right? If your feet never stop moving, you probably have sensory integration problems too. Probably paired along with ADHD. I have ADHD as well. But see, here's the thing. These things that science would have you think is some type of pathology, a disease state, you know, those are overexcitabilities that are best explained by the work of Dr. Dabrowski. Positive personality disintegration. There's amazing videos on it throughout social media. It's the most scientific explanation of ascension mechanics. Dr. Dabrowski's work is the foundational psychological school of thought that helps to explain and advocate for those who are profoundly gifted, especially the children. Overexcitabilities is indicative of heightened intellectual quotient as well as emotional intelligence. Makes you more sensitive, makes you more easily triggered, makes you more emotional. Those are not weaknesses. Those are indicative of how gifted you are. Stop labeling yourself as broken. You're going to need all those gifts that you're pushing away and trying to heavily medicate to cross that finish line. I'll share this. In a matter of 36 hours, more like 48. In a matter of 48 hours, I was able to go through, I want to say about 7 terabytes of files, reorganize them, and properly use them for a task, a very specific task. A task that will serve to help me cross a finish line that has been far long delayed and that I'm no longer willing to tolerate the delay of crossing. 48 hours. Do you know how many files are in that much terabytes? You know how many files that is? I fucking love my ADHD. Yeah. Yeah. I have a deficiency in my ability to pay attention. Only when I'm not interested. Only when I'm not interested. Then it's like, what? Huh? Say it again. Say it again. What? What? Read the paragraph 8 times. Still don't know what the fuck I just read. Oh, however, if I'm interested, I could probably read like a 500-page book. I would say 2 hours. No pictures, just nothing but condensed written words. I would say I'd be able to read that in about 2 hours and have full retention of every single thing I've read. If I'm interested. If I'm not, just fucking luck getting through a paragraph. Good luck, because my eyes go wonky, and then I keep reading the top line, the bottom line, but not the line that I'm on. Because it's just avoiding. Like, I'll read the top and the bottom, top and the bottom, top and the bottom. My eyes will do this jumping thing. If you ever are in person with me and you ask me to read something that does not interest me, you will see my eyes flutter like that. Because I'm just like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this. Yeah. All of these gifts that you have, let it come forward. Embrace it. It's going to help you cross that finish line. It's going to get you to the places that you belong. And stop being sorry for realizing you no longer belong where you're being forced to stay stuck. Okay? Don't let yourself get caught up in anyone else's BS. Just don't let yourself, right? You guys ready for a mini reading? Oh, wait, before I start the mini reading. Okay, so I have the comfort care meditation coming up. I don't know when it is. It says it on the link. If you've been struggling through emotional pain, physical pain, anything like that, it's been a chronic thing, medications are not able to help, you would really benefit from considering attending this comfort care meditation. I've had it, I think, like maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times before. And it worked really, really well for all the participants. Also, I have etheric medicine services available. This is for the private sessions. If you are having some type of chronic condition that doctors are not able to help you with, might be time for you to consider a private etheric medicine session with me. There's various options that are available. Uh, there's a lot of us who are being heavily and negatively affected by all of this parasitic activity. I'm going to be making videos that I'm going to be posting on TikTok about all of the foolery, no holds barred, no conversations that are going to be restricted. I'm going to talk about shit and lay it all out, just because it's time. It's time. It's time. Okay. Uh, look for that. It's coming up. The morphogenetic fundamentals workshop. What this will do, I'm teaching how to maintain your personal energetic field. Some rather effective techniques to keep yourself safe from parasitic attempts to access you. It's a really good workshop. It's about 4 hours long. I've had it several times before, and every time I've had it, people have been raving about their experiences. I love it. I love people feeling empowered in their space. So if you're ready to learn how to do energy work for yourself, this is not for clients, this is for yourself to maintain your space and really protect your sovereignty, the Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop is what you need to consider. The date is on the link. And then, of course, soul based business mentorship. If you're ready to disconnect from this matrix, you're ready to become very independent, financially stable, you're looking for a way out of that, it's time for you to consider the soul based business mentorship. This is where I connect with your higher self and I allow your higher self to give flat out instruction on what you need to do. I am not a business advisor. This is a soul based business mentorship where I am communicating with you what your soul has been trying to communicate with you. For those who don't know, if you're like, well, if you're not a business advisor, why are you offering a business service like this? Okay, because I did it for myself. And I've done it for other people too. And they become wildly successful in what they're doing. Part of my history, I did a soul-based business plan for myself, which didn't involve any type of business planning. I just listened to what soul told me to do. $30 investment for a prepaid Cricket cell phone with unlimited data. I was able to launch my company 7 years ago. Viable company. Not only was I able to launch my corporation, I was able to launch multiple corporations after that. Not only was I able to do that, I was able to also launch a nonprofit organization and church. I don't know how to do any of this shit, but I tell you, Soul told me exactly what to do. All of those are still operational and viable. I can do that for you too. You're going to have to put the effort. Nothing's guaranteed. You're going to have to put the effort. But if you know exactly what your soul wants you to do, becomes powerful. One of my most favorite stories to share. One of my dear folks, he was kind of in a low point, and I gave information which encouraged him to make the decisions he needed to make in a completely different country that I think he had never been to before. And then from that, wonderful opportunities presented itself. And within a few months, COVID happened and he was going to give up on his dreams. He reached out to me again, gave him the information that soul wanted him to have. He made his decisions. And then I would say about 6 months after that, he was newly entering into this field as a professional, newly entering. He did not have the work experience to be able to do these power moves he was doing. After that, guess what? This motherfucker was featured in Forbes. He was featured in Forbes. Do you know Forbes magazine? He was featured. I'm so proud of him. He was featured. He made that happen. When we started, if I remember right, he shared with me that he was living off his credit cards, that he only had a month to make something happen. And now he's living it up. He is solid. He has a career. He did that. And I gave him the instructions from Soul. He made it happen. Not only, what is it? Forbes Founders. Wait. Forbes Founder Circle or something like that. What is it? It's like some group that is extremely difficult to become part of. It has to do with Forbes magazine, and they help to, I think, produce content that that will help other starting entrepreneurs. And he successfully became a part of that as well. I'm just like, look at you, motherfucker. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And when I met him, he was in a not so good circumstance. And I was flat out, you're being taken advantage of. Fuck those people. They need you more than you need them. You're being taken advantage of. Like, nah, fuck that. And I think he would have continued with that, tolerated it, had I not come along and like, no, fuck that. Yeah. Yeah. Less than a year, featured in Forbes. Less than a year. I'm so proud of him. I'm so, so proud of him. Yeah. And now he's working with all sorts of like movers and shakers, people who are positioned to really alter in a beneficial manner the trajectory of human development, human corporations. Those are the kind of people he works with now, multi-million-dollar type corporations. Started from ground zero. I was there when he began. Oh, you want the name of a doctor? Hold on. I'll put it on the screen for everyone. Theory of excitabilities. Yes, there we go. There we go. So what I mentioned was Dr. Kazimir Dabrowski, the theory of positive personality disintegration and overexcitabilities. His work is phenomenal. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. It's so empowering that they buried his work and instead spread Freud. Dumbest shit ever. I personally believe that Freud had issues, and that's why he came up with his theories. Okay. Yeah, no. Everyone's like, Freud this, Freud that. I'm just like, Dabrowski, boo-boo. Dabrowski. And I came across Dr. Dabrowski's work in my efforts to advocate for my profoundly gifted child when he was a toddler. That's how I came across it. I was guided to it by an extremely talented and compassionate specialist in the field of profoundly gifted children. This is a woman, I forget her full name now. I wish I still had it. I would sing her praises publicly. But she gave me information about Dr. Dabrowski, about overexcitabilities, sensory integration issues, ADHD, all kind of different things. And she gave me information very openly about the Davidson Young Scholars Institute, where you can earn a grant for your child, and an advocate that is going to help you advocate for your child. She told me about enrolling my child in Mensa. She got us connected with the EPGY, I think it was called, program at Stanford University at like 3 years old. My son was invited to go to school at Stanford. Mm-hmm. 3 years old. And for many years, every year, Stanford would send us a letter asking for him to attend. There are very good people in this world. Very, very good people in this world, and they're often not shared about. They're not spoken about. And those of us who need their expertise and their compassion, their knowledge, we go without the help that we need. And we're told horrendous things about people who don't know anything about what it's like to be on a different end of a spectrum. There are very good people in this world. One day I'll find her name again. I believe it's Stephanie. I don't know her last name, though. Stephanie something. Stephanie something. I don't remember. She gave me all these resources, told me how to even use my insurance in a lawful manner to secure an IQ test for my child. We didn't have the couple $100 to pay out of pocket for an IQ test because he's so young. He was like 4. And the IQ test was to secure a grant, a $25,000 grant, and an advocate so that I could continue homeschooling him with the appropriate tools and be able to pay out of pocket for the appropriate programs. There was a program in the Berkeley Hills. I forget the name of the school. It was phenomenal. He loved it there. You guys are going to think this is crazy. He took a couple courses there. He was, I want to say, 3 or 4 years old. One of the courses was biology, and it was taught by the head of the University of Berkeley's biology department, the head of the Berkeley biology department. There are other kids like him, and oh my God, hearing them speak to each other, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. They did college level work, and they were all around the same age. There was maybe like 5 or 6 of them in that class. And yeah, the sheer brilliance paired with a typical child behavior, it was phenomenal to witness. It really was. I remember once 2 of the kids got into an argument. They're all toddlers. They're all like between 3 and 5 years old. And well, maybe a little bit older, between 3 and 7. And 2 of them got into an argument. And one was like, "You are so inappropriate. You're not being cooperative." And the other one was like, "I don't like you. You're a stinky butt." So the other one was like, "I'm going to tell someone about this. We need an adult to moderate." Yeah. The one that called them a stinky butt was like, "I need an advocate." I was like, Okay, guys, what's happening here? What's happening here? Are you focused on your task? Because I had volunteered in the class. I was sitting in and I was like, "Are you guys focused on your task?" Um, Social interaction like this is really not the appropriate time because the lab involves E. coli, and we want to make sure that we're not spreading infectious matter. So let's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Let's focus on the task. And once the professor comes back in, I'll go ahead and I will communicate what I saw. And then you guys can speak to her privately. Okay. And they're like, okay. And I was like, okay, okay. And then my toddler was looking at me like, they're out of control. I was like, I know. Just let them feel what they feel. It's okay. Just don't bother. Just focus. Focus on the E. coli. Yeah, the children were working on E. coli swabs. They were growing E. coli in petri dishes in order to observe the formation of colonies. I loved it. I loved it. Okay, let's do a semi personal reading. We're going to start with #3. I'm going to be pulling 3 cards. I'm telling you, if I wasn't doing the work that I'm doing right now, I would have probably really gone all the way with being a profoundly gifted advocate. Mhm. I probably would have. Yeah. Those children were amazing. And they loved me. They loved me. I love them too. They were fun. All right. Those who choose #3. Let us see what's happening here. Card number 39, air element communicating. All actions result from thought. So it is thoughts that matter. What you think about the situation that you're in is going to determine the way that situation plays out. What you think about the situation that you are in is what's going to determine the way your situation plays out. Let yourself wrap your mind around that. That's how powerful you are. It's not about blame. It's about taking ownership, full ownership of the power you have over your life and your journey. That must sound crazy, hearing me gulp down birthday cake flavored egg water. I'm sorry, I needed protein. Okay. Think it over first. You got to think it over. Put some mental effort into it before you put your talk into action. Be logical, sort it out. So I think that this ties into these 2 cards, the reaction and revolution in reverse. Don't allow yourself to get triggered to the degree that your passion, your heat halts your motion. You have to be very intentional during this period. And I don't mean intentional in your attempt to punish someone or argue with someone. Like, that's nonsensical. Trust me, there's a lot of people I would love to punish, but that's nonsensical. I'm not going to waste my time, effort, and fuel on nonsensical pursuits. How can I tell if something is nonsensical? Will it grow me? Does it support my healing? Does it further clarify for me the things that were distorted and I'm struggling to clarify? No? No. Oh, sorry. This has got to go. Not going to participate. But Emmy, they said blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? When you care too much about what someone has said, you are putting too much power in their hands. People can say whatever they want about me. If you take it too far, and I'm able to take legal action and it's necessary to take legal action, then I'm going to have to take legal action. You're stating your opinions. Yeah, fine. That's fine. Say your opinions. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. But you better make sure you're not stating your opinion as though you're stating a factual thing about me, a verifiable factual thing. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And until I need to correct something that's caused irreparable harm to me, my company, my assets, or anything like that, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. My fuel is for my rise and my healing. And the reason I take that stance, and I've shared that with you guys just now, is because a large component of my healing is giving myself permission to defend myself. That's why I say that. Because that is such a massive part of the process that I still continue to struggle through. This part of my self-love, self-healing journey where I'm willing to defend myself and speak up for myself to the same degree and intensity that I do for others. If it doesn't add to your healing and your self-love journey, why are you allowing it to detract from what you're doing? If it's detracting, it's nonsensical. Leave it alone. The air element is about being objective and becoming mentally inspired. When we think of air, we think of clouds and sky and what connects us to the beyond. Air is all about lofty thinking, being broad minded and expansive. Air sign people, which are Geminis, Librans, and Aquarians, sometimes come off as a little cool and detached. They weigh everything, mull the situation over, decide what they think, and then process what they feel. Aquarius cusp, baby. Yeah, I'm an Aquarius cusp. Air also reminds us of flight, and flights of the mind are what the air element rules over. Those governed by air signs are mentally inclined and tend to distance the emotions. Emotions can serve as fuel, but you better make sure you distance that fuel based emotion if you're planning on burning down a village. Because what are you doing that for? I'm sorry. What is the mission objective there? If it's just destruction, we're going to have to sit down and pause, right? Or we're going to have to consider all the different factors and get centered within our awareness of what actually needs to happen. Those governed by air can represent overthinking and distancing the heart and emotions with abstractions and mental puzzles. This works well when things do need to be sorted out and clarified. Air also represents clear seeing in all its capacities, so can signify clairvoyant abilities as well as seeing things for what they truly are, without emotions involved. When the air element card presents itself in a reading, it's time to put into words what you want, what you desire, and what you expect. The good news is some issues you've been working on at the current time and possibly from the past are now being resolved. What? Resolution. You're about to enter into a space of long lasting resolution. Don't, don't allow anything to stop you from entering in there and getting to the center of it. You deserve for things to finally be resolved. You are able to face them without pretense, but most importantly, with honesty. Air is all about being quick on your toes, how curious you are, and how ingenious. Air also gives us the power to apply our energies in diverse ways. It's all about being spontaneous, in the moment, and landing on your feet, and where you are able to approach things with precision and sharpness. There is also freedom now to take a new path. Air signs look young. So this card is all about feeling young, looking at things anew, having energy, and being young. A youthful existence has nothing to do with your age. It has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with the way you view yourself. That's just how it is. Most people don't realize my age, and it's not because I don't look my age. It's because I don't act the way people perceive women my age should act. And it's not me trying to look young, trying to act young and be hip and cool. I don't know half the shit that young people talk about. Like, you know. Oh, Joni, you want me to send you a friend request so you can give me a reading when I'm the one in the live stream? Are you nonsensical right now? Yes, you are. You're being blocked. Anyways, so mm, when your question is about relationships or romance, someone may not be willing to commit as much as the other this time. It's possible that they are embarrassed or not as comfortable about sharing emotions as the other. So the air element card can mean there's a type of blockage in this relationship. It can become a type of weighing of all the angles and odds and being unable to reach a decision. But this will only be a temporary matter. You can expect travel in the near future when this card comes up, and it should be a major trip, not a trip that might be routine. It will take planning, and air travel may be involved. Learning about new things will also feature either through cultural experiences or visiting educational places. So you're going to be exposed to things that are going to help to round out your awareness of who you are, what you're capable of, and um, how you can move through specific types of circumstance you've struggled through. Mountainous regions may also play a part. Sometimes this card simply means ambition and the need to soar as high as you can, which is now possible more than ever before. Use your fuel to continue going up. Continue, continue. Just keep going, keep plugging away. Ideally, this card indicates the powers of manifestation, the magic of mind and thought, bringing ideas into being. Those who chose number 3, you're in a very powerful space right now. You might not even realize it, but you are in a very powerful space right now. Just fucking take advantage of this. Do it. Make it happen. I'm over here like I claim all the cards. I claim all of them. Ideally, this card indicates the powers. Okay. What you think might happen can happen. So guard how you think and be especially careful as to the words you choose. So rather than thinking and fixating on the things you don't want, no, nay, nay, focus and fixate on the things you do want. Creation doesn't work in the negatives. So if you're consistently thinking about something negative, that indicates that you are going to manifest that negative thing. Instead, focus on the very thing you do want, the outcome that is ideal, the ideal outcome. And I think for some of us, part of what's happening is that you are about to achieve the very thing you've worked so hard to create for yourself. And so creation, maybe your soul, maybe creation itself, I don't know. Um, it's allowing for adversarial circumstance and adversarial connections to test how much you want this for 2 reasons. First and foremost, the parasitic things don't want you to have what is rightfully for you. So they're going to try and get you in a negative state of mind so that you waste your fuel on creating negativity. That's up to you if you want to do that. I wouldn't. Secondly, creation or your soul is allowing for this parasitic infiltration of your process in order to get you to first double down on what you want. And secondly, utilize the influx of fuel, this rebellious fuel, rebellious thoughts to the attempts to stop you. Use that to not just achieve what you want, but to expand, amplify, and elevate. So it's like, you're focused on baking a cheesecake. Oh, that's so good. You want a cheesecake, you're baking a cheesecake. Something comes along and is trying to tell you, like, oh, that's so bad for you. Oh, you're going to burn it. You're going to burn it. You're going to leave it in there too long. It's going to be burned. It's going to taste like crap. You didn't follow the instructions well. Shut up. That's what I would say. I'd be like, shut up. I didn't even make it for you. It's going to come out exactly the way I want it. I could already taste it. It smells so good. That's how I would negate it. Yeah. It's that easy. It's gonna taste so good. Oh my god, I could smell it. I can't wait for it to be finished cooking. There's no way it's gonna burn because I am counting down the minutes. I am counting it down. It's gonna be baked so beautifully, and the little graham cracker crust at the bottom. Ooh, the juxtaposition of that graham cracker with the creaminess of the cream cheese. Hot diggity damn. That's how my mind functions. And I've forgotten about the demonic thing at that point. I've forgotten about the demonic thing because I'm like, shut up. Don't interfere. I'm doing something right now. Right? It's literally that easy. And because this demonic thing has now gotten you so fixated on your cheesecake, not only is it going to bake beautifully and you're paying close attention, now you're also thinking about some type of glaze you can drizzle on top. Is it called a compote? Compote? A compote, I think, where you're just gonna reduce these berries because you realize you have fresh berries in the fridge. You're gonna reduce that in some red wine. Oh, or maybe you can reduce that in some Moscato. Bitch. Ooh, my God. Yes, that's exactly it. You've now just elevated the potentiality of your experience. At first, you were just going to have plain cheesecake, which that would have sufficed. That would have sufficed. Oh, but now, you're going to glaze that bitch. You're going to glaze it. You're going to put berries that have been reduced in Moscato. Bitch, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. I might have to do that. That's you elevating, expanding, amplifying the potentiality. Just let them do whatever they're going to do. Fuck them. You got this. Fuck them. I'm saying. Okay. All right. Moving on to card number 2. If you chose #2, you got card number 52. All right. All right. All righty. Here goes. Void of course, moon missing. The moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to. All is not as it seems. This void of course moon card can be daunting. It may not be a good or appropriate time to answer your question. As it is now, the results may not be what you want. So you have to be careful about pushing things forward. Okay. There is a component that is being obscured and you need to slow it down. You might need to even completely pause for a period and really observe. What is a void of course moon? The moon travels through the entire zodiac in 27 and a half days. There's a moment when the moon makes its last major aspect before leaving one sign and entering the next. It's as if the moon has gone to sleep. Her wisdom is being withheld until she moves into a new sign and the moon begins a new chapter or story. The usual axiom for starting things on a void of course moon is nothing will come of the matter. Matters will not go as you planned. In fact, most of the time it will end up far worse than you planned. You have been caught blissfully unaware. So there's something that's been obscured. You've missed something or you weren't paying close enough attention. That usually happens when you're trying to force a situation to unfold in a manner and time frame that is not organic, that is not instructed by soul. You won't be able to set the situation right at the current time. This card says to sit still and stay as you are. Take no action at the current time. Wait for the storm to pass over. It's a time to be patient and allow matters to settle before beginning anew. Allow this matter to resolve on its own without your help work, or interference. Don't bail anyone out or make loans currently because it's unlikely you will be repaid. Medical results will probably not be accurate. If your question is about a job or a career move, then it's not the right one. Oh, shit. Are you questioning about like a job move? I mean, maybe it's the timing of it. Sometimes what I find happens is that you'll be offered something that is not at the level that you deserve. And that's to see if you will settle. Like it could be a good offer, but there's an even better offer. And this is not about being greedy. This is about recognizing if it's less than what you know it to be, then you should not settle. Right? There was this one item that I was going to auction, right? It was an item that I was going to auction and it was something super duper profound. Like, I wanted to keep it. I so wanted to keep it. And what happened? Well, I knew that if I auctioned it, the people that I was going to auction it between, they didn't have the full understanding of the actual gravity of what the item is. So I was not going to get what I believed it to be worth. I was going to get a pretty amount. I was, so it was like, I was debating. I was like, am I just being greedy? And it's like, no, I base my prices for things on what I would pay for it, being frugal AF. So I was like, you know what? No, I just got to hold on to this. And then, long story short, this thing that I was going to auction but decide not to auction, it became something that ended up being an item that a specific individual needed. And so I set the price to what I knew the value was. And then it sold to that person. And I just set the intention like it's totally okay if that person does not agree with that price. But I am not letting it go for anything less than that price. I am not just trying to make money. It has to be what I believe is appropriate. And that's just that. That's just that. And I could have easily took that as, oh, if they said yes and I could maybe get more. No, I'm not interested in more. That's why it's not based in greed. It's based in my awareness of what the value is in my eyes. So you have to be careful during this period. For those that chose number 2, some of you might be offered something that's less than what you know the value to be. And this can be the value of your time, the value of your expertise, the value of your life experiences. And if you're willing to settle, then you're willing to settle. And if you're like you're desperate for the funds, I mean, you make whatever decisions you need to make for yourself. But what I've seen in life for myself personally, when I've been in a situation where I am desperate for something, right? Like I feel like I have no other options and this and that. Life has a way of showing me that if I just pause, I will see why I should not do what I'm doing and that an even better situation is about to pop up. That's what happens for me every single time. Every single time. I trust it. I trust it completely. I trust it. Are you serious? I'm told to share a weird situation that happened quite a few years ago. Um, so at the time I was living in my RV and it was time to have a newer RV because that RV was breaking, right? It's no longer inhabitable. And I went to an RV spot We were living in the RV full time. We were categorically homeless. I went to an RV spot, and mind you, I've lived off grid for quite some time. I pay cash for everything, and therefore I'm a ghost in the system. And like I have no debt at all. At that time, I had absolutely no debt, and I paid cash for everything. And so we went and we tried to get a loan for an RV, and they were like, "You running from the law? You don't exist." And I was like, "What?" They had my driver's license and everything. He goes, "You don't exist. Like, I've never seen this before. We tried all the different variations of all your names, and nothing comes up for you." And I was like, "Oh." And he was totally like, um, based on the information you've provided, I mean, why don't you just pay for one in full? And I was like, "No. What do you no. No." And I was talking to someone who offered to go ahead and give me the money for a newer RV, and that I could just pay them in installments. This is a private person. And at the time, this was someone that I got along well. We got along very well. But something told me, like, oh no, I don't know. And they were like, yeah, I'm willing to do this for you. I want to help you. And I felt they were genuine in that. They wanted to genuinely help me. And I was just like, I think that's too much. I think that that's too much of a favor. I don't feel comfortable. I appreciate your generosity and the authentic offer. It's just too much. I'm not comfortable with that. And some people would say that I was being stupid because literally our RV broke down and I needed to get my children in a safer vehicle to live in. And it was just like something in my heart was like, no, it's beautiful, but no. And so I said no. And then wouldn't you know, a couple weeks later, that connection just completely fucking imploded out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. It imploded, and I was just like, "Oh, thank God. Thank God. Thank God." I was like, No, no, thank you." And then not long after that, we decided to just completely get off the road and enter into a rental home. So we did. So we did. You have to know when what you're being offered is not the right fit for you, even if it's genuine, right? When people make offers to assist, I have genuine gratitude. They don't have to even offer. I have genuine gratitude. But if it does not feel right to me, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I think everyone is out to screw me over, I didn't feel that from that person. I didn't feel that at all. But in my heart, it just didn't feel right. It felt like I was settling for something. Sounds crazy, right? Like, what do you mean settling? You're being offered a new RV. In case you guys don't know, RVs are expensive. I wasn't trying to get anything fancy. The RV I was looking at was on sale. It was on sale for real. It was a used RV. But it was much newer than what we were in. And had a working toilet, working water, a working fridge, a working generator. Like literally everything on the RV was breaking. And it was leaking from bumper to bumper whenever it would rain. So it was bad. But yeah, no, it was just like, mm-mm. It feels like life has something else planned for me. I don't know what it is, but life has something else planned for me. And that was because I was approaching a period where I no longer was interested in running from myself. Sometimes we run from ourselves by running from circumstance, by running from situations and environments that force us to take a good hard look at who we are and how we disregard our own needs. For those who chose hashtag 2, I think it's time for you to assess. It's not necessarily that you're doing that, but it's very important to assess and make sure that you aren't, and that your decisions are not being run by fear right now, that you aren't simply avoiding yourself, avoiding the processing of deeply buried pain from childhood, even. It's time. Avoid, of course, moon. Oh, wait. After a long and costly effort, your matter in question may fail. People around you may start behaving like screw ups. It could be that great passions are playing against you. Discipline is needed. It's not a time to act impulsively. Whatever you do as your routine will stay as it is. However, matters that are unplanned or spontaneous will tend to work out for you. Avoid, of course, moon can be used to your benefit, so keep this in mind when this card shows up. For instance, you can work on something you really don't want. You want someone to come and you want someone to be removed from your life. Okay, void of course moon. This is a perfect time for you to engage with them because they're going to be removed. hmm You can interact with persons you don't really want to become a fixture in your life. Embarking on anything new or untried will tend to go wrong. In other words, when the void of course moon card presents itself in a spread, if you agree to plans you don't really want to come about, then it will be very likely they will not come about. So only agree to and interact with things that you want to end. It's kind of like reverse psychology, right? Um, Meditation and any type of psychic or spiritual efforts will work out better when the void of course moon card turns up. It's a good time to dream and even make plans. Just do not act on them yet. Don't act on it. Allow your intuition to guide you, but don't put it into action yet. Hold off. Also, do not plan a wedding if this card comes up. Keep in mind the time is not yet ripe. And a wedding, a marriage can be more than the typical definition of a marriage. It can be you marrying yourself to the idea of something, to the concept or novelty of something. It could be you marrying yourself to this obligatory sense of existence, to um, your loyalty to someone who you really should not be loyal to. So it's a good time to really take a good hard look at yourself, okay? And not because you're messing up, but because you need to be aware of what might be needing more attention. All right, let's do #1 now. Let's see. #1. Let us see. Looks like we made it. Look how far we come, my baby. I'm glad we didn't listen. #1 got card number 17. Leo, I will. It's better to be looked over than overlooked. Ooh. Got to be starting something. Got to be starting something. You gonna start some shit, #1? Okay. This is a card of honor and strength. Proud and strong, those born under the sign of Leo, are all about integrity. They're ruled by the sun, which is a light and a force we cannot live without. We would be left in darkness. Like the sun, Leos are warm and vital personalities. They intend to make their mark on the world, have a secret wish to be admired, and they want their time on earth to mean something. Not willing to be another link in the chain, Leos want to stand apart from the rest. Some may be known for their dramatic beauty, while others are clowns, or at least the life of the party. The sign of Leo reigns over children, creativity in the stage or public arena. Leos make great actors, television workers, book publishers, artists, salespersons, and posers. What they do must count and be unique. To overlook a Leo brings about great resentment in him or her, but generally, Leos are too proud to ever say so. When the Leo card comes up in a reading, expect to be at the center of something and be recognized. You're going to start something, you're going to get recognized for it. Those who chose #1, I'm telling you, it may be to do with awards, a television appearance at a conference or a public forum, or any place where people gather. Your talents are about to be singled out for special recognition. Creativity should be a part of this endeavor. Children or youth or the young at heart may figure in too. This is a time for standing out and making sure you are counted. You are going to be appreciated for your unique qualities. It's about to happen. No more self abnegation, no more self defeatist attitude, no more self sabotage, no more none of that. Okay. Your life is soon to be filled with creative fun, optimism, and youthful adventure. Since Leo rules the fifth house, this card can indicate romance entering your life. It will be generous, open, and playful. It may be a connection where you will work together on an idea, or possibly ventures with a vision that will create new things for the public to enjoy. The way you appear to others is important now. And this card indicates growth in both reputation and career. You may opt for a new look if you're looking to change careers, something original or to do with the public will be likely. If a job emphasizes team players, you will soon be one of the leaders. Whatever is happening, you're at the center of it, and it will be an adventure. This might mean being a bit of a gypsy, traveling, going with the flow, and trusting in your ability to make it all work out. And it will. The pleasure principle and a temptation to spend a lot of money may also factor in. You could take a gamble and win, but show caution. You may experience strange and exotic circumstances. I'm sorry, Michael's talking to me. Stop. Okay, you may experience strange and exotic circumstances where you will have to play king or queen. Your routine could come to involve changing hats and doing many different things. Odd or eccentric individuals may come your way. And if so, you may want to give them a chance as they could help advance your cause. This is a time of being spontaneous and living in the moment, and a grand approach is necessary. It's time to part the clouds and let the sun shine through. Be playful, be bold, and end up a winner because luck and light are on your side. Ooh, I love that. I love that. You guys, no matter what card you chose, no matter which hashtag you picked, this is a very opportune period. It's very, very, very charged. And for some, that charge is going to cause you to become agitated, to become combative, to fight your own process. I would rethink that if I were you. I would absolutely rethink that. Have a good cry, drink a glass of water, maybe take a nap, have a snack, something, and then keep plugging away. For others of you, this is going to cause you to feel so bothered by your positioning in life that now you just cannot tolerate being in the same space any longer. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's you preparing yourself to be catapulted, trebucheted forward. Movement is crucial. And when you experience friction in your life, friction is a byproduct of movement. Life is giving you something to push against. See things in the reality of what they are and what they mean, not in the distorted perception because your feelings got hurt. You are being given all the tools that are necessary. I got a notification. Hold on. It says equipment provided, remote jobs, equipment provided. I'm saying you're going to be provided everything that you need. You are going to be working on yourself remotely. You don't need necessarily other people involved. Okay. This is a solo job right now. Focus on growing yourself, healing yourself, and just embracing yourself where you are. And everything is going to work out perfectly fine. So I'm going to get going. I'm probably going to record a couple videos for TikTok, and then I'm going to go live on TikTok. We can talk about all kind of stuff. Yes, join me. If you haven't already found me on TikTok, my handle is Emmy Evolving. I am Emmy Evolving across all social media. Be careful of troll accounts. I will never reach out. I will never message, and I will never solicit you for services. Only way to reach me is to email my team, contact@emmyevolving.com. And also, only way to get a session, you don't win them. You purchase them at my website, emmyevolving.com. Don't let people bamboozle you. We don't do things like that. Okay. Unicorn fish. You've been on my mind. I've been trying to time when I can message you. Life imploded. It's okay. We like implosions. They tickle. They tickle. I will eat and be merry, and then we will converse. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe, follow, share, like, thumbs, hearts, happy faces, whatever you want to do. Just don't be weird about it. Don't be weird about it, and we'll make it work. Okay, love you guys. See you again later. Bye.